Japan and Tonga, folks, this weekend Test match rugby back in action. Both these sides also in action last week. Both these sides coming up with a loss, sadly. Japan, a little bit of a shock loss at home to Samoa up in Hokkaido. And then Tonga away to Fiji. Unable to get closer than 36-20, although they were kind of good to come back after that initial shock to the system of conceding like 3 early tries. So still some positives to take out of the game for them. Recent history between the sides is not all that recent. Like they did play in 2019, they played in 2017. But then if you're looking back at like the most recent 5 games, you've got to go all the way back to 2012 would be the oldest of those 5. So the recent history, if you can call it recent, is 3-2 to Tonga. But those wins are 2015, 2013, and 2012 for Tonga. The 2 most recent games are win for Japan, 2017 and 2019, and they were both pretty comfortable wins, 41-7 and 39-6. But we do see a little bit of a difference in this Tongan squad compared to the ones maybe in those kind of past years. There's been a bunch of guys who've come into the Tongan side who will certainly look to strengthen compared to where they've been in recent years. For Japan, though, we'll start with the hosts. They've made a few changes, but all the names are kind of relatively familiar that we've seen floating around in the last week's game or those 2 games against the All Blacks 15. It's Inagaki, Sakate, and Ivalu, 1, 2, and 3. So the 34-year-old Aseli Ivalu comes in at tight head. We haven't seen him just yet, but he replaces Gu, who drops to the bench. It's generally been Ivalu and Gu for the last few years that I've been seeing any Japanese games, so it kind of makes sense to see both those names still there. Fakatava and Hilu are your 4 and 5. Mato Fakatava had probably one of the better performances of any of the Japanese guys last week, so we'll see if he's able to kind of back up that big ball carrying effort he had from the second row. Hilu comes up from the bench. Cornelson is still there at 6, and then the busy tackling Ben Gunter, his name is Ben, isn't it? He is your number 7. He's certainly a high work rate player, and if Japan's going to live with less than half the ball, he'll need to be tackling, but they'll probably want to try and control possession, I guess, as much as they can. Jimeno switches to number 8 for this one, which is probably his best position, I suppose, but they've also got Big Tatafu on the bench as well, who certainly... he loves a big ball carry from the back of the scrum too. Saito and Lee is your 9-10 combo this week. So Lee continues on at 10, but Saito is up from the bench after it was Nagare last week. And then Osada comes into the midfield at 12 after being on the bench last week. So we'll see how he goes in what I think is his first test start. Riley continues on at 13. Masarewa, the kind of fleet-footed Fijian come Japanese guys there on the left wing. And then a fellow Fijian and Nakabula is on the right wing, so he switches from the left wing last week. So potentially kind of all-out attack from those 2 guys. And then Yamanaka is there at fullback. Bench-wise, Horia, Miller, and Ku, like I mentioned, all played last week. James Moore drops to the bench. Tatafu is in addition to the squad. Nagare, Matsuda, and Matsushima make out the back replacements. So Matsushima, one of the bigger name players, but riding the pine for this one. I mean, honestly, last week, they conceded some pretty soft tries, like the charge down try that they got when Yamanaka failed to clear. That one is just a brutal one. Obviously, there's no Michael Leach because he's been banned for I think 3 games, but 2, assuming he takes the kind of tackling clinic to reduce it down to 2 games. So they'll be looking to reduce their errors, not concede soft tries, and keep 15 guys on the field basically. For Japan, that'll be the kind of bare minimum. For Tonga, they've also rotated a few guys in and out, like Malakai Fekitoa. He has been rotated out. I don't know if he's injured or just rotated. Like Sam Losi's the same. Folau still not to be seen just yet. It's Israel Folau. But they've still got some pretty big name guns to come into the side. Fisiihoi continues on loose head. Moli, the Moana Pacifica player, is there at number 2. And Big Ben Tamiafuna is there at 3. Big Ben, he's just a unit, isn't he? Well, he was winning bloody breakdown penalties last week, so good on him for getting another start. Leva Fafita is alongside Mafi in the second row, so that's a couple of big units. Mafi was on the bench last week, so he gets a start. Fafita switches to 6 from number 8. Sione Havili Talitui, who has been in absolutely outstanding form for the Crusaders this season, he's getting a start at number 7, so he comes into the side. And then Lopeti Tamani, the former Wallaby big unit, he's there at number 8. So Man, you got some big physical presences in that Tongan squad. They will be trying to bully the Japanese off the park, and you would think the Japanese are probably going to want to keep ball in hand and shift things around to maybe tire this Tongan pack out. Takalua is there. He's still captain at number 9, and he's alongside William Havili this week, who shifts into the 23 after missing out. Mosia drops to the bench, and he played all right last week, Mosia, in a kind of, less kind of big name player, but again, a more on a Pacific connection with Havili there. And then midfield man, Peter Aki, former All Black and Toulouse player, one of the best midfielders in the world. So great guy to have at 12 coming in for Fikitoa. And then Talmoipio still there at 13. Solomon Akata switches from left to right wing. He was looking busy last week. And then the guy who came off the bench, Talmoe Folau, he is up from the bench to start on the left wing and replacing Kata. And then Pietau is there at fullback, man. So this Tongan side could certainly cause some havoc based on that starting 15. Ngamo, Fotuaika, and Lolohia are your front row replacements, so that's a new hooker and a new tight head prop replacement. Halafanua drops to the bench, Funaki drops to the bench, Paia's still there more, Mosia drops to the bench, and then George Moala, speaking of former All Blacks, he is there in the number 23 jumper as well. So man, both sides have got some big guns. The Japanese home advantage may be a factor in this one. Interestingly, when you look at the last 5 games, the average scoreline actually blows out in Japan's favour. It's like 27-19 because those 2 most recent games were 41-7 and 39-6. They're big blowouts. All those Tongan wins, which are a little bit historical at this point, like you're at most kind of 10-11 points, and one of them was only a 4-pointer. So, yeah, take that with a little bit of a grain of salt just on how dated that is. Predictions-wise, the Rugby Forecast algorithm's got Japan by 13. The bookies a little bit less convinced, saying Japan by 8. Potentially guys like, Loperi Tamani, Halavili Talitui, Peter Aki, and whatnot coming into the side, helping some of those bookies' odds. It is on from Osaka. It is on at 7:30 Japan time, which makes it, I think, 10:30 over here in New Zealand, which will overlap with the All Blacks game, which is kind of unfortunate. So it may take me a while to watch this game, but I'll try and avoid spoilers as much as I can. If you want to get your hands on some Japanese jerseys or Tongan hats or whatever, check out Level Rugby. Link down in the description. They're an affiliate of the channel. Got heaps of gear. Get yourself kitted out for the Rugby World Cup. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. Ranked number 12 Japan up against ranked number 15 Tonga. How do you see this one going? Is home advantage going to be crucial? You guys let us know your thoughts, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.